I didn't hear a ping, but it started. Anyways, welcome to Out of Continues, episode 226. This is a weekly podcast posted up every Monday on outofcontinues.com as an MP3, or it goes up before that. It's on youtube.com/outofcontinues as a video. Hashtag sleep more. Hashtag higher Staffa. We talk about video games related topics. I'm your host, Staffa. And this week, I have my brother, Ali,
Hi guys.
and I got Kevin.
Hello, hello.
How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Pretty good. Tired.
How
Yep.
are you?
Day.
Long day.
Week.
Yeah, long
Long
week.
week.
I
Yeah.
just ran through the rain
That sounds kind of fun actually.
because I went to the gym and it wasn't raining, and I came out of the gym and it was raining. And that's what happens when you don't have a car.
That sounds like it'd be nice weather over there though.
It was nice weather before it started raining.
I mean oh, never mind. Continue on.
Anyways, this week our segments will include our main topic, which will be what is our main topic? Games that we liked and then ultimately hated. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. And then after that, we got quick announcements. We have quite a few news topics, and then we got a surprise.
Of course.
But before we get into all of that, just want to do a quick disclaimer that all opinions expressed on the show are of our own and not of our employers, whether past, present, or future. Hashtag hire Staffa.
Shameless.
Shameless. Hey, I need a job. I need to work. Anyways, our main topic. So, Ali, can you quickly explain the concept of our main topic for this week?
So
Because you're the one who chose the topic.
I feel like everyone has this sort of game where they kind of play it, they like it, but then at the very end they're like, man, I didn't like it. Like you just didn't like it overall. Something what really disappointed you, or something, something about it that just wasn't done well, and could have just been better all around.
All right. So, we're gonna do as the way how we usually do these type of lists is we basically, each name off one item off our list and we rotate. So, Ali, since you haven't been on the show in a while, how about you go first? Would you like to go first? I mean, it is the topic that you chose.
Sure.
All right.
Tomb Raider. I'm talking about the Tomb Raider 2013 remake.
Oh man, you need to get slapped?
Did that just take both of you guys as once?
No.
Or no.
We love that game.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah, no.
That's an amazing game.
Like, the thing is, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like, the combat was good. I enjoyed like leveling my stuff up, that sort of thing. But it felt like it fell apart near the end of the game. Especially just that whole last like temple. It was a mess. Like you go through that whole area, it's just like
So is your complaint like the level design, or just the fact that you pretty much knew what was going to happen as far as story-wise because
No,
like
that's
everything was
even
so predictable?
so the story was okay. I thought it was gonna be, it was. At first, I was thinking maybe it's gonna be like, like Lost or whatever. Just like have this technology behind whatever. But then they go like completely, supernatural and all sorts of stuff. So
Like
that was
Lost?
dumb. Well, like, yeah, I guess, but just not to the. Lost didn't go that far.
Lost had no explanation to anything, but that's just a tangent.
Yeah, that is. I mean, things were
At the
Lost
end of
made
the
you feel lost,
at
right?
the end of the day, Lost explained the mysteries with more mysteries, and therefore nothing was answered.
Hey,
But that's just a tangent right there.
that's deepest of lore, man, deepest. But so anyway, uh, the game, like, it felt like the gameplay fell off near the end of the game. Maybe I exhausted myself with that game by if I recall correctly, I unlocked everything. Um, but yeah, I went through the game and just the whole last temple sucked. The all enemies kind of sucked. Uh, just Laura in general, just they made a terrible character, unrelatable in any single way. Um,
I'm so cold in this rain. If
it's like,
only one of these dead bodies didn't have a
yeah,
jacket on them.
if only like she's okay with killing and maiming these guys and all sorts of things, and she was dunked in this whole like pool of blood and everything, but she can't be bothered. She raids tombs, but she can't be bothered to pillage a winter coat off of a dead person. It's just, it's,
People that she killed, man.
and then she's just like, oh, I'm getting hurt the whole time, and like, Uncharted, Nathan gets in sorts of dumb situations,
No, no,
and
no, 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 no.
he gets hurt a lot. But then like he didn't get stabbed through the abdomen. Like she just kind of walked it off. She just like held her
Very beginning
abdomen.
of the game.
Yeah, at the very
Yeah.
beginning of the game, and she just like
Yeah, the amount of pain that they subjected her to is ridiculous.
it doesn't make any sense. It's
She's
like
the female John McClane.
it's like how Naughty Dog is like, oh, Nathan Drake's the normal guy, yet this guy has like hands of steel because he could hang on a cliff for years. So, but Lara Croft is like, oh, this is how she became so hardened. They literally, it's like taking, if you went to a store, grabbed a sack of oranges and started slamming it on the ground. That's what they did to Laura, but then just like you cut away from those oranges for a minute, and then you cut back to it, and those oranges are perfectly fine. That's what they did with Laura in that game.
She's hardened.
So yeah,
But yeah,
hardened.
it's all those calluses that she has to build
Yeah,
up.
clearly, yeah,
Yep.
orange calluses. But not only that, but the QuickTime event ending was the worst. But even before that boss sucked. That is just. You're complaining about bullet sponges earlier. This like I'm talking about
Yeah, when we were talking about the division.
yeah, talking about the Division. Like this guy's a bullet sponge, and like this is a game where enemies aren't bullet sponges. There is no RPG element. It's a purely action game. This guy, you have to blast him a bunch of times, in the
Yeah.
back and all sorts of stuff.
I
And
honestly
then
don't even remember how that last fight went.
Because
I
it was
don't
bad.
either.
It was bad. So
I just remember.
I
remember
remember
the
it
end
so well
was
because
kinda
I was so
dumb.
angry.
I remember the end was kind of dumb, but the overall impression I had about the game was I really liked it.
Yeah, see, I also enjoyed it a lot. I mean, I thought that, I don't know how I felt comparing it to the Uncharted games, but as its own thing, I really enjoyed it. I thought that they did a really good job with the gameplay. Like the combat always felt really smooth and fluid and satisfying.
It was good.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I'm gonna go. Sorry, go on, Kevin.
I also like the environment design. I mean,
That was
there's-
also good.
yeah, and I don't know. The story wasn't horrible at all. I
It
didn't
wasn't
think
good.
it wasn't amazing either, but
It wasn't good.
It was decent. I thought it was okay. I didn't have any major problems with it at all.
Just real quick, I'm gonna compare this to Far Cry 3,
Uh-huh.
which is another game that like by the end went stupid.
When it really
like,
stupid.
It started off pretty stupid too. in my
The
opinion.
difference
Oh
between
yeah.
Tomb Raider and Far Cry 3 is that like the very last bit of Tomb Raider went really stupid. With Far Cry 3, which is, I mean, I liked Far Cry 3, but like the last third of the game, just it felt like it was made by a different developer. Like the first 2/3 was awesome, and then Voss dies, and then they're like, oh, there's a different bad guy who's nowhere near as cool.
Whoops, we probably shouldn't have killed him too soon.
Yeah, and then like the last third of the game was like on a completely different island with completely different enemies that were like American rather than whatever island that was, and you know it was just. It just felt completely different. It was really stupid. But overall, I still liked Far Cry 3, despite that last third being dumb.
It was better overall. That's
Tomb Raider, on the other hand, just like the very end went stupid. And
it was a quick time event. Last boss.
See, okay, I guess I'm one of the few people in this world that actually likes quick time events, but
I think quick time events are okay. I think they are nice when they're placed appropriately in a game. I don't think it should be used for a last boss.
See, like one thing that I like when they're used in bosses is like for the finishing move, like how God of War does it, or
God of War is awesome because they do fantastical things.
Yeah.
I don't want a QTE that involves like someone throwing me around while I'm trying to struggle. And then I just go like get one shot off on their face. No, I don't care about that.
Shadow of Mordor, quick time event, last boss.
I've not played that.
Last boss is a quick time event.
Yeah.
You don't really fight what's his name, Sauron. Like you quick time event him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like
let's move on. We spent too much time on Tomb Raider. So, Kevin, would you like to go next?
Sure. First one I have is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I think they did a really good job with all of the ship mechanics. Like it actually felt like I was, a pirate on the, just sailing the seas, and they did a really good job with the environments as they usually do. And they really did make Black Flag feel like I was, doing what they would have done at that, in that setting. And just the ship mechanics are really cool too, especially just sailing. That's all I did for, several hours is just sail the seas, plunder ships, steal things. And so it was really fun while playing it. But I really think that it added zero value to the Assassin's Creed plot. I don't know how much I want to spoil. I mean, it's kind of an old game, but basically, like the whole thing with the observatory or whatever it was that they found, like his main purpose was to get that for his own greed. Like I don't think he never really was a true assassin. He just happened to have the clothes because he killed one of them and took the clothes off the guy. And he associated himself with the Assassin Order when he pretty much had zero intention of doing whatever they needed to be done. Like he had no alignment with them, and it was all just for his personal gain. And I think that there was really no value added to the Assassin's Creed story overall.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
I got a plot hole for you. Assassin's Creed plot hole. Adam, who he's been on the show a few times.
Yeah.
He pointed out to me when he was playing the newest Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
I haven't.
He was like, so how are the Templars more powerful than the Assassins in current day? When every time in every game you go to the past and like pretty much mud stomp the Templars.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't they be non-existent by current day?
But duh.
Well, see,
how are they more powerful than the Assassins?
See, and that's the problem, is that when they started Assassin's Creed, they started off really well. I mean, I think the first two games were the strongest in the story, and they had a clear path and direction for where they wanted to head. But then once they figured out that they could do yearly releases and just milk the series for money,
And
they didn't care.
Key developers left.
Yeah, and then the lead designer left, and we still don't know if it was because he was fired or whatever. Like we don't know the
Not more than
details.
just him. Like a bunch of people left. I mean,
Well,
like
yeah, but I mean, like he was the main
yeah.
designer behind it all. Like he was the one who pretty much creatively directed the whole game, came up with all the ideas. But then once they got to the point where they were doing yearly releases, they didn't really care about the story anymore. They just wanted to keep adding things to do, with no regard of the actual story. And so then all these plot holes, I guess, started coming in, and the story just doesn't matter anymore. From what I've been hearing, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since Black Flag, and like just the stories, from what I've been hearing, have no value. Like they're just a plot to keep the game moving forward, but they don't really add anything to the whole plot that they started back with the first Assassin's Creed. I mean, Assassin's Creed used to be one of my favorite series of all time, but just the things that Ubisoft has done to that series, just putting more focus on the just milking it, trying to get as much money out of it as they can, without even caring about the quality. I mean, all they do is just they want quantity over quality right now, and so that's, in my opinion, it's ruined the whole entire Assassin's Creed
Ali,
series.
either you're breathing really loud or something is blowing into the mic every once in a while.
That could be my breathing. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed playing Black Flag, but at the end of the day, I think that if it was not an Assassin's Creed game, it would have been much better.
Mhm.
Like if it didn't have to be tied to the Assassin's Creed story.
What if they called it Watch Dogs Black Flag?
No, that would just make it worse. I didn't think it could get any worse, but you just made it worse.
All right, moving on.
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll pull something from my list. I think, okay, XCOM Enemy Unknown. That is a game that I was really enjoying. Like, it started off the bang. I loved how it was going. And then by the end of the game, I was just so sick and tired of all the shenanigans the game was feeding me. Like, just a lot of the mechanics are broke. For example, the aliens always have like a turn advantage on you.
Well,
Like,
okay, so yeah, that's been fixed in XCOM 2.
You can never sneak up on them. Like whenever
Yeah.
you find them, they'll go into like this panic alert mode and then they'll
then
like
they run
reposition
away.
themselves.
Yeah.
And then even if it was like like if your turn wasn't even your turn wasn't finished,
They still move anyway.
yeah, they'll move and then it's like, okay, it's basically their turn.
I didn't
Yeah.
enjoy that game at all.
And like just it was very buggy. I really hated whenever I'm literally point blank to somebody and it says like 95% hit chance.
That happens way too often.
And
I
then-
swear.
Yeah, like
I mean, are they sure it's a random number generator? Because if my chances were that high, I swear, like I would get so many drops after raids in WoW.
yeah,
'Cause,
like when
You
when
roll
have
the dice.
when you have like a 95 or 98% hit rate, a chance of hitting 98%, like you should not miss that often. And it felt like half the time, if not more than half the time, I'd still miss.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the Enemy Within expansion kind of it pretty much fixes most of those issues, except the one where you can't sneak up on enemies. That one has been fixed in XCOM 2. But with Enemy Within, they add basically Enemy Within it's not like a story expansion. Basically, it's the same game, but they just add some things.
Hmm.
So like if they pretty much what they recommend is that if you haven't played XCOM yet, just get XCOM Enemy Within and start from there because it's the same story. You just have more things available to you, and they fix a lot of things too.
And
But
another
'cause
thing
I've
that
been
I go,
Go ahead.
sorry, go on.
I was just saying that I've been playing that a lot recently, and I haven't really had the RNG issues as badly as I used to before the Enemy Within expansion. Um, so I feel like that's been fixed. I don't know if that actually was something in the changelog, but it feels like I'm not missing as often anymore.
Hmm.
I
But it might just be the
literally
luck
had
of the draw too.
I literally had a 99% chance to stun one. I forget what it was. It was a lot earlier. It was basically the mission to. Uh,
The
I
first
think the
one where you
mission.
have to like interrogate it. The
Yeah,
sectoid.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was that one. I literally had a 99% chance to stun, missed, and then the enemy that you have to capture killed my top guy.
Hmm.
I was like, I am
And
not even
your
gonna
top
re.
guy's name was Mustafa.
No. Oh, okay, yeah, you got killed in one shot. But so I mean, at that I had restarted missions before, just like a couple times, and
Yeah.
then because you don't want your guys to die off. And this time my dude died. It was coming off of that 99% chance to stun and missing, and then having him die. I went to the dashboard and deleted the game instantly.
Well,
I
I
just
will
couldn't.
say one thing that 99% is not 100%, and I understand like the frustration with that. And it happens to me too, like where it gets pretty bad. But I mean, I think there's also at least when you're like overwatching and things that it kind of makes sense because you're reacting to something moving really fast, or like if it's running in front of you, you're not necessarily going to hit it. And that's something that was one complaint that I heard a lot of was whenever they would always set up their guys in Overwatch, and then when an enemy would reveal itself and run to a new spot, their guys would take reaction shots and then they would miss. And
Mhm.
people like so a lot of people that I've been talking to said that like that was dumb, and I was like, no, that kind of makes sense because if you think about it, not you're basically just standing at the ready waiting. You're not sure where the enemies are coming from, and then as
So,
soon as one runs out, you just take shots at it. Your team just pot
so
shots at it, and
I
then
I
if they
could
run,
understand I could understand that, but
yeah,
this shot that I took, I took a step out where I was 100% visible of the guy. I was 1 block away from him.
I
Okay,
think
so
with certain weapons too, if you're too close, then they're not going to be as effective. I mean,
then it
again,
shouldn't say 99%.
well, yeah.
Kevin, you're just an apologist.
No, I'm just looking at it realistically. But I do enjoy the game, so maybe I am I have a little bit of bias, but I do love
Another thing that
XCOM.
really bugged me about the game was that I'm talking about Enemy Unknown. I'm not talking about XCOM 2 or
Yeah.
just talk about Enemy Unknown. Is that it wasn't utilized to play with mouse and keyboard properly. And let me
I will agree with
explain.
that.
I'm trying to select a spot for my guy to move with the mouse. I'm playing this on PC. Why am I going to play with a gamepad? There's
Mhm.
very few games I want to play with a gamepad on PC. Like platformers, racing games, stuff like that. I don't really care to play a strategy game with a gamepad on PC. So I'm using my mouse, and I'm trying to select a square for my guy to move to, and it's kind of like jumping between the one I'm trying to highlight and the one that's like a level above or below it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like it's just constantly flickering back and forth, and I'm not really moving the cursor, and it's like stop moving. I want this one, and it's like okay, I'm just gonna like click. Oops. I clicked on the one that's the floor above on accident. Now my guy is moving all the way up there and just ruined everything because he's now like right in front of the enemy and he's gonna get blasted.
Yeah, I agree with that issue. They definitely put more emphasis on controller design. but I think they realized later on that it wasn't the best decision because now XCOM 2 is not even on consoles.
Hmm.
It's PC only, and it doesn't even have gamepad support on in the game at all.
PC Master Race.
But I mean, it also at least it's a turn-based game and not real time, so it's not like you need the. I mean, with the gamepad, at least it's still somewhat playable. It's just not ideal.
But yeah, that's definitely a game on my list. Let's move on. Ali.
I have. I've got several I'm debating. I'll say Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
It was a very fun game. The multiplayer started off very fun, all that positive reinforcement. It's like level up, level up, and it does the like yeah, ba-dum, sound every time you level up. So,
No Russian.
it's yeah. Oh no, it was Modern Warfare.
I'm
But
pretty sure that was
anyway,
Modern Warfare 2.
was that Modern Warfare 2? I don't know. Anyway, it was a good game, and I had fun, and then the longer you play it, the more you realize the higher like unlocks for multiplayer are all completely unbalanced, and the game as a whole is very unbalanced. The kill streaks are very unbalanced. The all sorts of it's just like, man, you had something good going for you, but then you just like put all this junk in here, and all that junk is junk.
Junk is junk.
All that junk inside that junk.
What you gonna do with it?
You can quote that right there. All that junk is junk.
All that junk is junk.
Put that on the back of the box. Are you ready to move on?
Yep.
Kevin.
All right. Let's see. The next one I'll mention is a game called The Forest. So this game
Oh, yeah.
is a survival simulation game where you're stranded on you're stranded in the forest somewhere and you have to survive. When I will have to preface this by saying that when I played this, it was still in early access. I don't know if it's out of early access yet, but I have not played it since it was in early access. So I don't know if it is officially like fully released. I don't know if they've fixed any of the issues that I've had. But when I was playing it, I do like those survival simulation type games. And I've been looking for one for a long time that I think that I would enjoy, and I think The Long Dark is a pretty close contender. But
Yeah.
The Forest, when I was playing it, it just became really frustrating because the cannibals always attacked extremely early, and they attacked in large numbers pretty often, like incredibly often.
Hmm.
It was just unbalanced. So I would.
It only took like a few days, right? Like after the first day, they just like
Well,
start
yeah. So like
scouting
the
you.
weird thing was that your plane crashes,
Yeah.
and then somewhere randomly in the forest, I think. No, I think it's in the same spot of the forest every time.
Yeah, the,
Uh,
the village itself is in the same spot.
Yeah.
I think the crash location is different though.
I think the crash location is the same because what happens is you crash land and then you wake up several hours later or whatever, and you start collecting things from the plane that you can gather that you can take with
Mhm.
you, and then you start surviving. So you have to like chop down trees to make your shelter, make your fire, do your cooking, and then you'll start getting attacked by cannibals, and then they'll quote unquote kill you the first time,
Yeah.
but you wake up in in their like cave somewhere, and you
Yeah.
have nothing with you, and you have to escape the cave with like 5 or 6 cannibals just guarding the area, and so you have
Yeah.
nothing. Not easy to kill. Like even if I had an axe, I would have to swing my axe at them like 10 times before they even died, um, and it got just really frustrating, like how often they would attack and how strong they were. And there was no sense of actually trying to survive because I would just walk around and chopping down trees, and like I'll look one direction, there's nothing there. I'll turn around, I'll turn back, and then all of a sudden there's 5 cannibals like patrolling the area right
They're
next to me.
super fast too. Like when
Yeah,
they start
and then
running.
they start running right at you, and there's
Even when you mentioned the axe and like you slam it in their face a bunch of times and they just do not care. They're just
Yeah.
like
they don't even stagger. They kind of do, but they didn't seem to like be affected at all by any of your attacks.
Yeah.
And so it just was really frustrating to deal with them. And so I just stopped playing after a while. And I've been keeping an eye on the Long Dark because I think it's going to be better. But we'll see. I mean, it's still in early access, so I'm not going to buy it yet. But I've been watching Mathis Games. He's one of my favorite streamers or YouTubers, and so I've been watching him play it, and I really like what they're doing with that. So
Just real quick, The Forest is still in early access.
okay, so I wasn't sure if it was still early access, but
I
don't know if they've changed anything. The last time I played it was maybe a year ago, so it's been a while. I'll check it out again maybe when it's fully released and see if it's better. But when I played
this has been in
was
early access for a while because it was released on May 30th of 2014, so it's almost been 2 years in early access.
Yeah, I think they released it like literally really early, like as soon as they decided to make the game. I don't know. Like, as soon as it was barely playable, they released it on Steam. So I don't know. I don't even know if they've been releasing updates. I don't even think I have it installed, so I don't know if I've been getting any updates at all.
Updates, yeah. It seemed pretty rough just when it was in development.
Yeah.
User reviews, very positive.
Well, I'll check it out when it's fully released because I don't want to deal with that right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on.
Yep.
All right. On my list, this is a game that I've mentioned on the podcast quite a few times. My love-hate relationship with it, and that is 2 games: Monday Night Combat and Super Monday Night Combat.
Yeah.
Like they released Uber Entertainment released Monday Night Combat originally on the Xbox 360 on Xbox Live Arcade, and then they released a Steam version with a few more things, a few balance changes and stuff like that because you can't really release updates for an Xbox Live Arcade game back at that time.
Yeah.
So they released kind of it was the better version of the game. And it still had balance issues, and it still felt like a work in progress. And they were still updating it. Like people were giving them feedback, and they were updating the game. And then like all of a sudden, they just kind of stopped updating it. Even though if when it first launched, it felt like they were working on it and improving it, and it was a fun game. It's just it had a lot of balance issues.
Yep.
And then they stopped, and then they released Super Monday Night Combat, and it's like, okay, this time it's for real because, they're gonna pretty much give themselves a clean slate and, basically, go from there. And they did the same thing. Like they were doing weekly updates, and then this was even before the game came out, they were doing constant updates, and then they released it way too early.
Yeah.
And because they released it too early, there's like no real tutorial. People came in just for the TF2 hats, Team Fortress 2 hats, and realized that the game had no tutorial, so it was too hard for them. So they were like, okay, this game sucks, and they would tell their friends this game sucks. And no one wanted to learn how to play the game. And because of that, the community died. It was only the same few really good people stomping the new people, and then they're still doing weekly updates though. So it's like, okay, there's still some hope. Nope, they gave up on the game. Uber Entertainment just abandoned it, and they abandoned it while it was incomplete. Lots of balance issues, and Like they were promising, like from the start, they were promising that there's going to be mod tools so that people can, make user-made maps, stuff like that. Nope, that never came out. So
Yeah.
the game was stuck with like the same 5 maps, and only like 3 of them are any good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
I
game
played.
I liked, I had fun with, and I wanted to really love, and I wanted to be successful, but it just crashed and burned like the Hindenburg.
And you played that game a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
My go.
Yes, go ahead.
So mine's similar in the same vein. And I've mentioned this before, and so have you. But I was really bad at this. But it was Tribes Ascend.
mhm.
Um, I had fun playing it because it reminded me of Tribes 2. Some of it was more modern and it worked, but a
Hmm.
lot of it didn't work well, and high res really just screwed that game over. Um, and like I
Hi-Rez refused to listen to like
people that
critique, and when people
yeah
point out problems, they refused. Like, oh, you got stuck on the map. It's not our fault. It's your fault.
like
You're
I
playing the
don't know.
game
It
wrong.
was yeah, it was just really bad. Like I had fun because I was good at it. I like even when I played Tribes 2. I mean, this was way after like it originally was out. Stoffa played it when it was originally out. I played Tribes next, which was the free Tribes 2 that you could get online.
Hmm.
Um, and so like I got really really good at that game. And considering Tribes Ascend was easier, I was even better at that game. So, um, but the balancing was completely broke. There
Yep.
was no consideration for anything, like for any team related stuff. It's always the way the game was designed promoted lone wolves.
I think that is probably a result of just how shooters are in general today. I mean, even like with that's just how Call of Duty style, I guess, shooters would play. I mean, most people aren't really concerned about the team.
Well,
They're
it
really
just
concerned about their own KDR, and
it,
that's like
it
the only thing
pointed
that
out
drives them.
the Hi-Rez Studios' lack of understanding what makes tribes, what made it so awesome.
Yeah,
Is the like it is completely a team-based game, and like they flat out said, they're like, oh, we want to promote these hero moments. Like, wasn't
Mm.
that the term that they
yeah,
used?
yeah, which is completely the
Hero
opposite
moments.
now. Like in Tribes 2, it was like team moments, It was pulling together, um, having a very strong assault. You take a transport vehicle, fly it over there. You have, it's full of a bunch of heavy armored, team members that are shooting mortars there, while the guy that's on the top part, he is shining a laser at it so you could target it.
Mm.
And he's also throwing flares, like launching flares so the enemies can't lock onto you and you shoot you guys down. And then you take out the turrets, you take out the radar, and you like blast into the base and just destroy everything. And a team working together to go for a flag capture. It's there is none of that in Tribes Ascent. None of that, and that's because they locked classes behind money. Um, like like how are you supposed to? Yes, you could pick up a repair tool, but you know what does repairing better? An engineer class, and you know how to get an engineer class? You pay for it. So it's
Yeah,
just
the pay to win stuff was really frustrating.
it's they took the paper rock scissors design of uh, tribes, and then they just was like, "Oh, you want rock or scissors? Pay us money." Like you started off as paper.
Also, weren't like in Tribes Ascend, weren't the vehicles like you can pilot it and use the guns at the same time?
I think
It's been a while
so.
since I played the game, but I feel like that's how it was
Yes. Oh
because
yeah.
a lot of people would spawn a tank and they wouldn't wait for somebody else to jump into the tank with them. They would
Yeah,
just
they
like
would
take
just drive
the
it
tank
off
and
and shoot. Yeah. Yes.
like in Tribes, the original, Tribes One, Star Siege Tribes and Tribes Two, like you cannot pilot the larger vehicles and shoot it at the same time.
Yeah.
Like if you want to take a tank in Tribes Two and shoot at the same time, you'd
Need a
have to
gunner.
you'd have to like drive the tank over there, jump out of the piloting seat, and then quickly like jetpack into the gunner seat. And
Yep.
while it still has momentum and moving, you make your shots, and then you have to like do the same thing back.
Do a switcheroo back.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you're not gonna be very successful. That's the only way you're going to be able to do both.
Yeah.
From what I recall, I mean, I might be wrong, and they might have
No,
changed it, but from what I remember, in Tribes Ascend, you were able to like take a tank and shoot at the same time, and
Yeah.
the secondary seat like had some crappy machine gun or something like that.
Yeah. It was really bad. It's
Like,
like it's like if anything, the driver should have the machine gun, if anything at all. You know.
Yeah, like the
So-
driver should have secondary weapon control, not primary.
Yeah, and like just even without microphones, it worked on Tribes too, because you'd get your your vehicle, say need a gunner, someone would get in, you know,
Yeah.
and even if the person who like so in
because
Tribes
it had like voice chat commands where you
there are
press.
voice menus.
Yeah, voice menu where you'd have like a menu of different things that you could say, and then you could be like, "Oh, you are weak."
Yeah.
Shouts bomb.
Yes, you could. Yeah. It just Tribes Ascend. Like I enjoyed it, but it is terrible. It is a bad, objectively, not subjectively, objectively bad game.
Yeah.
Also,
Yes.
hit scan weapons really, really high res. Okay.
I will agree. I will
Yes.
agree. The only reason why I did not put this on my list is because it got to my hate level much quicker than it should have.
Yeah.
Like,
It
like, I
was.
wanted to like it, and then I was like, "What is this trash?"
Yeah, I liked being good at it because it wasn't hard to be good at it. So, you know, anytime I see myself like number one consistently, I'm like, oh man, this is fun. But then that like feeling set in, just like this is a terrible game. This
Yeah,
is
there's like, and also there's like no defense. It was all about offense. It's
yeah. There's no aspect of defense. It was just like
it's like, what's
about
the point of like putting out these turrets and stuff when someone's going to just call an airstrike that will like instantly kill it and everyone else standing around it?
and the maps were so small too that people could just spam your stuff from like a very relatively large distance. It was silly.
It was.
Anyway.
Kevin.
All right. So you basically just recently said, I wanted to like it, but what is this trash? And I think that's a good descriptor of my next game. Fallout 4.
Oh man, you took that from my list.
So I did enjoy playing a little bit of this. I think I have like 30 hours in the game, and
Mhm.
the combat, spot on. I love the combat in this game. They basically got id to do the combat for them, and id, in my opinion, is still the king of shooters. And so they did a really good job with making combat feel very satisfying in that game, and like, you know, the shooting actually feels like a shooter rather than the whatever was in Fallout 3 and New Vegas.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Fallout 4 fails in so many other places. Basically, everything that Fallout
Basically all places, you mean?
basically everything that Fallout 3 did good, it did well in. Fallout 4 fails in, and everything that Fallout 3 did poorly in, Fallout 4 does good in, or does well in.
Mhm.
But so basically, they just like swapped their proficiencies. But I don't know. Fallout 4 is just so frustrating. It's the I don't know where to begin. Okay, I'll start with the UI. That game, at least on PC, I don't know how it is on console, but interacting with any of the menus or any of the interfaces in the game is a nightmare.
It's
Uh,
garbage.
yeah,
They
it's
they
one of
went
the worst
for
UIs ever.
they went for style over substance. They were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we really want you to use this Pip-Boy." It's like, "No, I don't. It's not good at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to stare at a green menu the whole time. I don't want to deal with this like menu and menu and menu, and then not only that, but lists, the longest lists ever. Of
Yeah, and
things.
the thing is that like I don't know who their UI designer is, but whoever it is did
A
not account.
toddler.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Like they just
It's a
got some
mess.
random kid off the street was like, hey, make it look like whatever you want. But
Hashtag hire Staffa.
so yeah, like what you were saying with lists, they do such a poor job of displaying just a list of things. I mean, if
And
you
this is an RPG where it's all about
loot
collecting
tons
everything.
of things, yeah. And just the fact like you can go in your Pip-Boy and all you can see are like 5 items at most at a time.
Mhm.
Like you can't even see like the one thing that really bothers me about the Pip-Boy menu is when you go into a sub like category of whatever section you are in
Yep.
the Pip-Boy. So like if you're in weapons, for example, or no, you're in gear or like items, whatever it is, and
Yeah.
then there's a subsection where it's like weapons, armor, aid, miscellaneous. Like the subcategories, you can't even see the whole list. And I understand why they did it because they wanted the current category to be directly under the uh, the section that you're in. So like if you're in items and you're looking at the weapons, then weapons the word shows up directly underneath items, and then
Mhm.
everything else just kind of fades off into transparency. And that's just horrible because so again like they kind of designed this. I'm pretty sure like they designed this primarily for a controller because with a controller
No,
you
it's
don't.
not. No, it's not even good on controller.
Well, see, I don't know because I haven't played it with a controller, but like,
It's not. It's not even good on that.
but
No.
what the thing with the controller at least is that you're still like limited with your D-pad, so you have to go through a list of things. Like if you wanted to go to a another item, you actually have to click your little D-pad or your analog stick to the right or left until you get to there, even if they showed the whole thing. But on PC with the mouse, you have the cursor, and you should be able to just click directly to whatever you want. But
So
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 now,
in the UI on the console, you pull up the menu. You have the main categories and you have the subcategories. So the
yeah,
main categories you toggle through. Um, I think L1 and R1,
hmm,
and then your subcategories are left and right,
huh,
and then everything's up and down. So it's just like a lot of times I'll be staring at the subcategory and I want to go well, to the next subcategory and I'll hit R1 instead of right.
hmm.
And it's just like I don't know, it's just poorly designed the way that they have it.
Well, with the another thing like the when it shows you which buttons you can click to do different actions along the bottom of every menu, I don't understand why they didn't actually make a design for that. It literally is just a string of text,
Hmm.
and because it's a string of text, they can't do anything to make it look good, so it looks really confusing. So, uh, so if you have actions on, let's say you have highlighted a stim pack, and you have the options to use it or to drop it, or whatever, or to like go into the view mode where you can see it in 3D and rotate around it. Um, so like the little action bar or the button controls at the bottom, it literally is like push E, and then it has like a little close parentheses, and then it says use, and then
Yeah.
it's like whatever the drop is on PC. I don't remember what the key binding is, but like whatever you bind it to, it's like let's say R, and then close parentheses, drop. And then if
Yeah.
it's like a scalable thing, like it's if you're trying to drop multiple items, then it'll be like push Q and then close parentheses, and then it'll say like the amount, and then it'll have open parentheses and then R or whatever it is to increase your value or decrease value. So
Yeah.
when you're looking at the whole string, it looks like it actually is not. It looks like it's almost a prototype where they're just like, here's where the button will go, and here's
Yeah.
where the text will go to describe what that button does. But that's actually in the full release version. Like they didn't
Yep.
even design any graphic. Like there's no graphical element to the button layout.
And,
It's just,
this is just the UI. I mean, how
Yeah.
how much time have you spent on that?
and
The
I'm
game
only,
where
and
you
we're
spent
just
a lot of
talking
time.
about the Pip-Boy aspect of the UI, not even everything else.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so I'll stop talking about UI. Next thing that I have an issue with.
Dialogue.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about dialogue, like having a voiced character. However, I will say Bethesda has, over the years, increasingly favored recorded dialogue, and that in turn has caused depth in dialogue to go down.
There is no depth in this game.
Well, yeah, so that's the other issue. But like I'm talking like so specifically dialogue. Like in Morrowind, because there was no voiced characters, and they didn't have to pay that money to do that. They could have incredibly
in-depth
deep,
writing.
like
that
yeah,
sort of thing.
you could talk to every single character, get information about every single thing. And then with Oblivion, they started voicing more characters, but you still had several options. You could some characters would have 6, 7, 8 I don't know options that you could have with them.
Yeah.
And then with Skyrim, they reduced that to a maximum was like 5 things you could say to a person. And now in Fallout 4, it's 4 things that you can say. And it's not even clear what you're going to be able to say, because some things are like a little dialogue wheel. Some of them are just like summaries of what is going to be said, and then other things are the tone. So it's like some of them will say sarcastic, and then the other ones will be like, "Where's my son?" Like there's no consistency across anything. Like you can't even tell what the sarcastic comment is going to be, because so I was trying to play a sarcastic comment or a sarcastic character, and so I picked sarcasm, and it just came off as like a totally rude comment, and then it made the other person upset, and then I felt bad that I said something that upset another person. I was like, that's not what I wanted to be. Like, I wanted it to be like a sarcastic joke. It was supposed to be like sarcasm, just a joke to make light out of a bad situation. But he just came off as a jerk, and so there was no description of what he was actually going to say. It was just the tone, and it didn't really.
Yeah, that was I had that a couple times, not with the sarcasm, but with other things.
Yeah.
Like it would instead of it would just be like the general topic. Let's say. Sean, it'll say Sean,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, okay, I'll ask him about this, and then he just says completely different, something different than I expected. I was like, what? I don't want this. I never asked for this.
Yeah. And so okay, so that's another aspect. The other thing is all the quests are really shallow, and they're literally the same thing. You go up to a quest giver, and the only types of quests that they have anymore are there's a bunch of raiders
radiant quests, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of raiders that we need to get rid of. Go kill them. Okay. Or there's a bunch of ghouls that we need to kill. Oh, okay. It's all of it, and I feel like I almost wonder if they did that because they've put more emphasis on the first-person shooting mechanics to make combat better, which it is better.
Then
they were like, "Ooh, this is so good. We want everyone to do this all the time." So every single quest is combat.
Yep.
And it's just it's the same thing. It's go into this building, clear it out, come back. Go into this building, clear it out, come back.
Go sneak up to a guy, kill him, come back.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I said, the combat is brilliant. It's extremely fun combat. It's just
I wouldn't say brilliant. It's a lot better.
I don't know. I really enjoyed the combat aspect of the game. I mean, I don't know. That was just me
I
though.
don't know, cause like I had my Blitz perk, and I had I was a very strong melee guy. This was my
Hmm.
first run,
Yeah.
and with a Blitz perk, you could literally teleport. Like there will be someone behind something or up on the second floor or even third floor, and the game's like pathfinding will be like, yeah, you could run and melee him with that, and you will teleport next to the guy and slap him in the face with a super sledgehammer, and it's just like, what are you doing, game? I
Hmm.
mean, it makes funny moments, but it makes pretty broken combat, you know.
Yeah. That's
Um,
interesting because I never played a melee character in any of the Fallout games. I always played like long range or medium range, but that's interesting.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know everyone was hyped for Fallout 4. Like that was probably the most hyped game
I was
of
hyped for it.
yeah.
I
I
didn't have
mean,
money to buy it though.
yeah, it was probably the most hyped game of that year. It got more hype than Witcher 3, and I think Witcher 3 deserved more recognition than it did. But um, I don't know. They I don't know if here's the other issue. I intentionally finished Witcher 3 before I started playing Fallout 4 because I remember Fallout 4 came out, but I wanted to finish Witcher 3 because I was pretty close to the end. And so I said I'm not gonna install Fallout 4 until I finish Witcher 3 because then I'd be tempted to play it. And I want to finish Witcher 3 so that I don't leave it behind because of Fallout 4. And so I finished Witcher 3, and then literally that same evening I started playing Fallout 4. And so I think that my expectations and just my bar was set so high from Witcher 3 that Fallout 4 couldn't deliver that.
Yep.
Couldn't match to the amount of
So this is like when you played BioShock Infinite and you didn't want to play any more games with stories
no, it
because
wasn't the
no
same
other
thing.
game was
No.
going to allow you to see the voice acting.
No, that was different. That was just like I didn't want to play any game with a story, but this one was I wanted to play Fallout 4, but my expectations were set so high from Witcher 3 that Fallout 4 just
Just
maybe
did
it
not.
feels more of a disappointment than it actually is. And
No, it's a
so
disappointment.
yeah, I mean it's every time I hear like so I listen to a lot of podcasts and every time someone mentions or like I'm on Reddit and or someone says something good about Fallout 4, I always think to myself like, did we play the same game? How are you enjoying Fallout 4? It's
So
such a
I am a person that is not attached to the Fallout
Are these
series.
people do they work for Rooster Teeth?
Yes,
I possibly
yes. As a person who is not attached to Fallout at all, it is a disappointing game.
Yeah, and see that's the
Um,
thing. Like like everyone who listens to this podcast know that I'm a huge Bethesda fanboy,
they
and
won. I think they won best RPG of the year from the GDC, not GDC. The what's it called?
it was the Dice Awards.
The Dice Awards.
Yeah,
And
they
I,
got
I
Game of the
was
Year.
I was floored. RPG of the year and Game of the year.
Yeah,
Really? I mean, like even if you just look at the technical aspects, like if you even ignore the game design flaws in that game,
yeah,
if you just look at the technical screw ups and just like how that is, like these are other industry members voting for this, saying this is acceptable.
yeah. And actually, that brings me to something else. I know we've been talking a lot about Fallout 4, but I do want to mention one more thing, and that is the technical aspect, the engine itself.
It's
Um,
garbage.
it is garbage. And so here's the thing. Again, I'm gonna compare it to Witcher 3 because they are both open world RPGs with similar. Uh, they have similar end goals, but they do it differently. So
Mhm.
I am gonna compare it to Witcher 3. So Witcher 3 and Fallout 4 essentially had the same exact amount of development time. It was roughly 5 years.
Mhm.
Because with Witcher 3, they started development as soon as Witcher 2 came out, and Fallout 4 was pretty much they started development as soon as I mean I guess they even started as soon as Fallout 3 released. I think they said that their first asset for Fallout 4 was made the day that Fallout 3 was released. Um, but obviously they released Skyrim, and then they delayed Fallout 4's announcement because of Elder Scrolls Online. They said that they didn't want to take hype away from that. Anyways, Fallout 4 essentially had the same development time, if not more, than Witcher 3. But in the same time, CD Projekt Red rewrote an entire engine. Like, every single Witcher game has had a completely new engine. Like, they've rewritten it from the ground up. It's the same basics, but they've rewritten it completely. Whereas
I guarantee you that Bethesda also has a larger staff.
the previous version of their engine, which was the creation engine from Skyrim.
Yeah,
And
but Bethesda has a. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so they modified it to it's the same thing that they did with Gamebryo. They took the Oblivion engine, they modified it to have the whatever would be necessary to make Fallout 3 work. So they did the same thing with Creation Engine. They took Skyrim, and they essentially how they made Fallout 4 was they ported Skyrim to the Xbox One and then used that as the starting point for Fallout 4. So they didn't even rewrite the engine, they just added onto it and whatever they already had. But with Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red completely rewrote the Red engine. And if you compare those two games just like visually, like there's just so much detail that can be rendered on screen with the Red engine as opposed to like what can be shown and like in the Creation engine. And then if you look at also just efficiency, so my computer it's not a weak computer. I have a 980 Ti in there. I have an overclocked processor. I've got 16 gigs of RAM. And even then, like even before I got the 980 Ti, I had like a 680. I was running Witcher 3 when I first bought that, and I had the 680. It was running at 50 plus frames per second all the time.
Yeah.
And with the 980, obviously it's been 60 pretty much all the time. But playing Fallout 4 on the same computer with a 980 Ti, I would get like 30 to 40 frames per second at any time, and then when I would be in the main city area, I would be dropping down to like the high teens, low 20s.
Oh yeah, I mean the PS4 version and even worse the Xbox One version.
Yeah.
They were like consistently in the 20s, and I mean I'm okay with a 30 FPS game. I know I've been playing on a PC, but I prefer 60. Yes, but having it like in the 20s, 22s, like all the frame pacing issues, just consistently, and it drops to like 15, 12, 10. It's like sometimes I would play the game and I felt sick. I mean, there's nothing I could say other than I felt literally sick.
Are you watching a PowerPoint presentation?
Yes. I could get PowerPoint presentations to scroll faster though.
Yeah, and it's just even beyond the frame rate issues. It's just the amount of detail that was in Fallout 4 in comparison to Witcher 3 was night and day. I mean, you look at Witcher 3 and you look at the texture quality and everything it's really high resolution textures, and all of the foliage, all of the meshes that are on the screen at the same time, and it ran flawlessly. And then you look at Fallout 4 and the textures are like they're last gen quality textures. They're not even there weren't that good textures.
It does look like a last gen game.
Yeah. And then you like the mesh quality is, you can tell that they're really low meshes, the low poly meshes. There's no, like, the texture resolutions are really low. There's not very much being rendered on screen at the same time, and it's still suffering from a lot of issues. And there's just bugs everywhere. So I mean, it just shows that Bethesda has more than 100 people working there. CD Projekt Red has 30.
Yep.
And this is why CD Projekt Red is my #1 favorite company in the game industry of all time. It's because they actually care about the game, the games that they make. They care about the quality of their games. They care about the consumers, and they will go to whatever lengths necessary to make sure that the product that they make is solid. And Witcher 3 and Witcher 2 are perfect examples of that. But then like with Fallout, with Bethesda, it seems like they're willing to sacrifice the quality of the game just to
Sell it to more people.
sell it to more people, make it more accessible. And I mean, I'm not against making games accessible, but don't sacrifice
Don't ruin a
depth.
game.
Yeah, don't sacrifice the depth of the game just to make it more accessible. You don't have to make a game less deep for just to make it. I don't know. It's just to make it allow like more people to be able to play it. I mean, you don't have to make the game dull in order to justify it being easier for more people to get into. And it seems like Bethesda has just lost their luster as far as making quality RPGs, and it's been declining, in my opinion, pretty much since Morrowind. I mean, actually, no, I enjoyed Oblivion a lot.
Yeah.
Skyrim was the first one where I thought that Bethesda was losing their
Yep.
grip
Same.
on like the open world RPG. So,
Yep.
so yeah, I
Stop.
spoke a lot about Fallout. Anyways,
Alright, I couldn't really
There's a lot
say
to
much
say.
because I haven't played it.
That's
But,
fine.
since we've been going on for a while, I'll just end with one more. We'll just cut the discussion after this.
That was my list anyway, so.
Last game I'll mention is L.A. Noire.
that was on my list too.
Oh, yeah.
The game, it started off really, really awesome. I mean,
Mhm.
just going around and solving mysteries. It was like a new take on the whole, point-and-click adventure model of game. And this is before, Telltale revamped point-and-click adventures with Walking Dead. It was just really cool solving mysteries and interrogating people. But then, like, once you figure out, like, the skeleton of the game,
Yep.
it just fell apart. It's like, oh, I can just walk around this room, until once the music stops, then I know I found everything. And I think the music gets louder when I get near the item that I need to get, or something like that. There was like music cues for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So it really it became less of trying to figure out the crime scene and more just, hey, have I walked everywhere?
Yes.
Just following the music cues. And I mean, on top of that, the interrogations got weird because one of the selections was always Cole Phelps yelling at the person he's interrogating.
Yeah.
Abusive.
It made no sense. And, like he just, I can't remember what it was, but the selection had nothing to do with what he says, and they changed it last minute because it was supposed to be something else.
Wow.
It was supposed to be like, supposed to be basically like intimidate them or something like that. I can't remember, but they changed the wording to the point where it made no sense. Where you select it and he's like, ah, and like then the person you interrogate is, oh my god.
Like, I didn't do this, and then you're like, I'm sorry.
And on top of that, like, it's Cole Phelps himself, like, they ruined his character by the end of the game, because
But
at
he
first
couldn't even.
he couldn't even.
He couldn't even.
He can't odd.
Hmm.
I'm talking about. Have you not seen the GIF where it says "I can't even" and it's him falling down the stairs?
No, I don't think so.
Oh no. Okay.
But like, basically, like, he at first he seems like he's the only guy in LA who has good morals and trying to do the right thing. But even him, he's a scumbag because he was cheating on his wife.
Hmm.
And then, like,
I didn't get
after
that
that,
far in the game.
like, you don't even play him anymore. It switches over to a completely different character by the end of the game, and like this is way worse than like what happened with Far Cry 3. because like the end of L.A. Noire is not only a completely different character, but then it
It's a
also
completely different game.
yeah, because like by the end of the game it was like this really bad third-person shooter.
Yep.
Like you weren't doing you're still doing some mystery stuff, but then
Not
the very last level was straight up a third person shooter, and you got like a flamethrower and everything, and it was just and it was not even a
Terrible.
good third person shooter either.
Nope.
That's
not
so
even
weird. See, I never got that far in the game because I stopped playing it after a while because I was getting frustrated with how incoherent it felt. I mean, I wish that I don't know. Like I said, I didn't finish it, so I don't know if there was a overall story that connected everything together. But it just felt like a series
There
of
was.
non-related missions just to get up to through the levels of the police department. But I guess so. Was a story that connected everything.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
story that connected everything, and it was a dumb story too.
Yep.
I think it was something about like everyone was in the war together, and they found like these priceless paintings that the Nazis stole or something like that, and they decided to make a pact and put it into like this vault or something like that, and then one of them decides, hey, I want to get rich off of this. I can't remember. It was really dumb.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the game had pacing issues to begin with because of the whole like they're trying to have like mystery and then like third person shooting and then mystery third person shooting and like the third person shooting was always pretty bad. It felt very sloppy. It didn't feel very tight. And
The
also
best
there
part
was
was running after people.
well, the worst worse than running after people was like the Prince of Persia platforming segments where you're like on a balance beam.
Oh, I remember that.
What the heck is it?
Was that like the construction site or whatever?
Yeah. Like I mean, there
Oh
was
my
more than
God.
just that. There was inside a library and other areas. It was. I mean that like at first I was forgiving that because it was just segmented here and there, but then by the end of the game it was all about that. It was all about the platform, the bad platform, bad third person shooting. Um, Plus they had the whole issue with the DLC. Like the DLC was basically it was cases that they ripped out from the game here and there. Like they just plucked them out, and like if you bought the season pass, then those cases show up in the case book. And so I played through those, and like after I beat the game because those were released after the game was released. Like it wasn't available at first. So I beat those, and by then like I was already worn out by the game. Plus, those cases had nothing to do with the overall story. I don't know. Like I think the game was better off without those DLC levels because those just prolonged the game for no reason at all, and the game was already too long, and the end was just stupid. Cole Phelps.
Yep.
Did you want to add anything, Kevin, since it was on your list?
I have a few, but I'll only mention one.
I mean, to L.A. Noire, since it was on your list.
Yeah, actually I don't know if I have anything else to say because I didn't get very far, and so I don't know how. Like I said, I didn't know how the story was connecting, but I just stopped playing it after a while because of those issues with the dialogue. Like everything just felt forced. And I know that they were trying to go for the natural feeling because of the whole facial motion capture,
Which was
but
amazing.
because of that, it felt I don't know. The motion
Kinda
capture was
creepy,
cool, but it was a little weird, and I think like the facial stuff was decent and was pretty good, but it was like everything else just felt forced and unrealistic and not natural. So it was like this huge disconnect between that and yeah.
I'm Detective Cold Phelps. I'm a cop, you idiot.
I liked that the Scottish guy who talked about the sword of justice and stuff like that.
Yeah, I forget what his actor's name is, but he's a pretty good actor in general.
But
Anyway,
yeah, let's
moving
uh,
on.
let's yeah, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, let's do news.
And move on
Um,
to
Before
um,
news, what do we got?
well, um, we got hashtag hire Staffa, but other than that, uh, um, I don't even know how to transition to this DreamHost. Their web
what a
service.
segue.
You know what other things should also have a hashtag?
What?
DreamHost.
Oh yeah. They're a web service that offer unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface. They're also optimized to use content managers such as WordPress and many more features. All that just for $8.95 US a month, and it gets better if you use hashtag HireStaffa. I mean, if you use the promo code out of continues, that's one word, no spaces. They'll
Hashtag hire
waive away
Staffa.
the setup fee and get you a free domain registration.
Hashtag hire Staffa.
Hashtag HireStaffa, get me a job.
You know, you could use DreamHost to create a website called hashtag hire Staffa.
I already
And that
have.
will be the website URL, hashtag hirestaffa.com.
I don't know if you can have a hashtag in your.
No, you have to
No, the
actually
word
type
hashtag.
type
Oh,
out the word.
There's
Hashtag.
there's actually a store in Indiana called hashtag bikes.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. I don't know where that
Yeah,
is though.
it's downtown near Methodist.
Oh,
Ask me
nice.
how I know. Not because I work at Methodist or anything.
anyways, let's move on. One quick announcement. iTunes, we can really use the iTunes reviews. Please leave an iTunes review. I checked the other day. We still haven't got any new iTunes reviews. That's bad for us because we don't show up on Apple's podcast charts if we don't get any reviews on a given week. So if you want to help us out, one of the single most helpful things you could do is to leave a review on iTunes. It doesn't need to be a long review. It can be like, this is a review, and that's it. Like, you don't need to do much. Just put a star rating, write down whatever you want. Please
Shocking.
keep it appropriate, though. I mean, if it's actual critique, then that would be better. But you know, if if you write, "I like this podcast," that's fine. That would
Yep,
be great.
show good.
Like, that's perfect. That's perfect. But if you can't leave an iTunes review for whatever reason and you still want to help out the show, you can do so by sharing the podcast on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, whatever you use. And, tell a friend about the show. Be like, hey, these guys, they want people to write in, and you liked writing in. And they'll read your email and answer it and stuff like that. And they'll talk about how, uh, you know, Smash Brothers is not a fighting game, so
It isn't.
it totally is not. It's a brawler. So let's move on.
People gonna get salty.
Let's move on.
Moving on.
Let's talk about some news, and we're gonna do so once I share the screen. And here we go. I shared the screen. Hello. Let me hide
Nice.
this little thing. Noise.
Nice.
Noise. All right.
Sniper.
All right. Let's talk about Fable Legends and Lionhead. Fable
Mm.
Legends got canceled, and it's proposed that Lionhead Studios is going to shut down.
That sucks.
Yep.
That does. I mean, like, I don't know why they shut down Fable Legends. It was. I mean, it sounds like it was close to being complete. It was in beta. It was in a closed
Yeah.
beta though, but it was in beta. People were playing
The
it.
developers were like thinking, "Hey, we're gonna release this game," because someone asked about when's this game coming out or something like the week before this was announced. Like
Uh-huh.
this the Lionhead or someone from the studio was like, check out the beta, you could check it out or whatever by doing so and so. And then, like 4 or 5 days later, nope, closed.
Man, I mean, like, from what I've seen about this game, I mean, it doesn't look like a Fable game.
Yeah.
It just has like the Fable universe but it still looked like a cool game.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was going to be free to play gave me more incentive to try it out. Like,
Yep.
if there was a price tag on this game, I would definitely not play it. But the fact that it was going to be free to play, I had some interest to at least give it a try and check it out.
See, I
And now
think I
it's
was
like-
a little the opposite though, because I mean, except for a few examples, most free-to-play games tend to have the same issues, and that's like pay to win, and they try to make it all social and everything, which just makes the experience not nearly as deep or as
I
exciting.
mean, this doesn't seem like it was going to be a pay-to-win game, though. I mean,
I know, but that's the like I didn't follow Legends that
It's a-
closely, so I don't know.
asymmetric multiplayer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Microsoft hasn't shown, like, they haven't shown that they know how to do free to play.
I don't know.
None of
I
the
still
free-to-play
had
games have
some. I still had some hype for this game.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot
looked
of hype,
pretty
but it
good.
was some.
Yeah. Anyway,
And it's still sad to hear that that the studio might be closing out.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
you guys want to add anything to that?
no, it sucks. I mean, just reminiscing on Fable 1.
Yeah, I was about to
It's-
say Fable 1 was
Like, I posted that Oakvale music on that post of yours, Kevin. Oh my
Yeah.
god. I listened to it like 10 times that day.
Also,
You're so naughty.
Microsoft's also been closing out other studios like Press Play Studios, which is based in Denmark, and they made Max the Curse of the Brotherhood,
Yep.
which is a game on the Xbox One.
hmm
So
Oi.
that's- I'm not sure why. Like, I can only speculate, but it seems like Microsoft. Like
They don't want small developers. Think about it for a second. They're killing off every single studio that is smaller. They are keeping their big studios, which are 343, like even Black Tusk. They killed off the new IP and said you're going to work on Gears, and Turn 10 is Forza. It's just those are their three.
Well, what I was going to say is one possibility is that it's cheaper for them to just hire like a third party to work on a game for them, and then be like, okay, you made the game, we're done, bye, see you later, rather than to own the studio and if the studio that they own makes a game that doesn't do as well, then
I don't
that
know.
might
that would make sense if Microsoft was still, they were still pushing for these type of games. Like, they've basically killed off every, like, their first party initiative. They've killed it. I don't know.
I don't know.
Wow.
All right. Well, hopefully these guys can find a job, because Sony is like, you guys looking for work? Hashtag hire Staffa.
So you worked at Lion's Head.
That would be falsifying my resume.
I didn't say Lionhead, I said Lion's Head.
That would still be falsifying my resume.
They don't make
create a studio
Fable,
called
they make Fables.
create
That would be telling a fable right there.
exactly. Create a studio called Lion's Head. Lionzhed.
So basically, PlayStation, they are putting together a job fair in Guildford, UK, which is the city where Lionhead is located, and they're basically trying to recruit some of these folks who might be looking for a job.
You're so naughty. Do you guys remember the guy that would be like, "Respect the pie master"? Not, and then he would run away.
No, I don't remember that. Is that in the first game?
Yes, he'd say respect the pie master, and then yell not, and then run away.
I don't recall that at all.
Because what I'd do is I'd slow down the time, pull out my crossbow, and shoot him in the head.
Let's move
Good
on.
boy.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, more canceled games.
Oh,
So, Radiant Entertainment, who was working on Rising Thunder, which is a fighting game, been in beta on PC for a while. This is a fighting game that's supposed to be like very accessible, easy to use, and anybody can pick it up and play it. Because I mean, an issue that a lot of people have with like every fighting game is that you have to basically practice and work at it to be really good, and just to stay at a competitive level. And then if you play against anybody else, like your friend who never plays a fighting game, they're just gonna get mud stomped.
Yep.
Because that's the learning curve of fighting games. And this one is supposed to be like anybody can pick this up. And I never played it myself, even though I got into the beta. But from
Yeah.
what I understand, like the special moves had like basically like there were like buttons that would do the special moves, and they would be like on a cooldown, kind of uh, like your special moves in your MOBA, or your spells in like a Diablo, something like that, where
Or
you
your abilities in the division.
sure where you use your special move, and then there'd be a cooldown so that you can't just spam the same move over and over and over. So it was supposed to be a lot easier. But anyways, Radiant Entertainment, they got acquired by Riot Games. Riot Games being the people who developed League of Legends, the most popular MOBA game, one of the most popular games in the world, or most popular PC game at least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Riot has been like picking up developers left and right. So basically, what the Rising Thunder team has said is the team will start working on a new game that we're incredibly excited about. We wish we can say more, but rest assured you'll hear more when the time is right. For now, we will be closing the Rising Thunder Alpha on March 18th. Thanks for everyone who participated in the test. So they can't really say much right now. And a lot of people are pretty upset about this because they liked Rising Thunder. So, apparently it was pretty good. A lot of people had fun with it. My assumption is that Riot is gonna make them make a game with the same gameplay that they were working on, except instead of having giant robots fight each other, it's probably gonna be like League of Legends characters.
Or they're just going to incorporate that in League of Legends.
I don't think they're going to incorporate the gameplay in
No,
League of Legends,
they're not going to.
but I do think it will. I do think they're going to work on a similar game, but with different characters, rather than giant robots.
Hmm.
That's my guess. I think it makes sense. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Because I don't see why else they would acquire this this studio just to have them work on more League of Legends.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there are times when a company acquires some other company or like a product thinking that they're going to do something with it, and then it turns out that they just don't, and then it just goes to waste. I've seen situations like that as well, but I don't know. We'll see, I guess, what happens with this.
Well, I mean the team that has been working on Rising Thunder, they one of the guys, I can't remember his name, but he is basically a prominent figure in the fighting game scene. Like he did some tournament stuff, I believe. I can't remember if he actually participated in the tournaments or if he just ran the tournaments or something. But like these guys they pretty much live and breathe fighting games, and they understand what makes a fighting game good. So, because of their expertise in fighting games, I'm going to assume that they're going to, just keep working on something that's similar to Rising Thunder, except, with a new coat of paint.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to add before we move on?
Nope.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we're gonna skip this one, right? All right. So, Plants vs Zombies, Heroes. Are you hyped for Plants vs Zombies Heroes? It just got announced, and it's a collectible card game with superhero style that tasks players with building a team and taking it into battle. So they released a trailer that shows absolutely nothing. Like there's a glimpse, there's like 2 seconds that shows like a montage of gameplay, and it just flashes so fast you can't really tell what's happening. I mainly wanted to bring this topic up because Plants vs Zombies is it's a beast at this point. It's like it's going down the same road as Angry Birds. It's no longer what it used to be or it's no longer what it originally was, and now it's like this insane, like, hey, we got our key mascots, and let's have different variations of them, and let's put them into different scenarios with different gameplays. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd probably have more to say about the game itself if they showed more of the game. But
I really don't care for card collecting games.
I do find it funny that it is a card collecting game because it seems like card collecting games is now the new MOBA as far as the trend that developers are trying to jump onto.
Maybe I haven't noticed as many collecting card games coming out as I have MOBAs.
I mean, they definitely, like, I think for a long while, MMO RPGs used to be the thing that everyone wanted to copy. They're like, oh, EverQuest is doing well, let's copy off EverQuest, let's copy off of World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And then once Dota and League of Legends came out, like everyone was like, hey, let's jump on that bandwagon and make a MOBA. And now, with like Hearthstone, everyone's like trying to jump on that bandwagon and make their own collectible card game. You got Bethesda even working on their own collectible card game.
Yeah.
I've got a collectible, wow, I can't even talk right now. Collectible. Yeah, collectible. It's collect testicles.
Whoa.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Whoa.
Or the testicles collect you. What was that? My joke, I even ruined my own joke. I was going to say, I've got a collectible slide game called Fallout 4.
Is that something you want to collect?
No, I've got a collection of slides called The Gameplay.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Let's talk about this crazy NES emulator that came out.
That looked really cool, by the way.
So
I thought someone made like a diorama of, like, I saw a screenshot of it.
let me or at least let's explain it first.
I'm too
So
excited.
the 3D NES emulator basically it emulates your ROMs in 3D, and like everything looks like this crazy cardboard cutout. Like you gotta see it to get a better understanding of it. But like you said, like the scenes look like a diorama.
Yeah. When it works well, that is. Sometimes sometimes it's not perfect, but
yeah. 'Cause it's just like extrapolating
it's
stuff from whatever it can get from 2D.
Yeah, and it's doing pretty well. I mean, it's using algorithms and everything. So
Yeah.
like I was watching some of this video. I didn't watch the whole thing, just clicking through. And
Hmm.
the best looking one was Mega Man.
Hmm.
Some of them looked just trash. Like
Yeah.
Contra looked terrible.
I think
Uh,
Contra looked okay, but like most of the frames, it wasn't looking too well.
well,
I don't know.
especially when it was like the whole like behind the back levels where you're going down the corridor, the 3D levels of Contra,
Yeah.
like those looked really bad. Um, and it seems that sometimes the emulator doesn't know how to make or it doesn't know how to render the items properly, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of flickering on some of the stuff. But
Yeah, like your player characters are kind of like invisible almost, and like they're clipping through certain things.
this is definitely something that you should check out if you haven't seen this before. I mean, if if it interests you at all, check out the video. It's in the show notes. It looks pretty cool. You guys want to add anything to it?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Oh, we didn't want to talk about this either. Let's move on. Okay. I want to talk about Hearthstone real quick. Ali, I know you don't play the Hearthstones.
Don't
Uh,
care for it.
Kevin, you played a little bit, right?
Yeah, I like it, but it's just I don't have the. It's one of those games where you have to put a lot of time into it,
Yes.
and I'm not the type of person to play one game exclusively,
Mhm.
so I never get the chance to put a lot of time into it.
How familiar are you with the World of Warcraft lore, the old gods?
Not very familiar.
Not very familiar. How about you, Ali? I know you played some World of Warcraft. Are you familiar with the old gods?
No. Um. No. Not.
Okay.
Not at all.
Well, this new expansion that they just announced, Whispers of the Old Gods, is supposed to take that aspect from World of Warcraft, which I don't know anything about because I had never played World of Warcraft.
I
But apparently, the old gods are basically Cthulhu.
Yeah, I I
Yeah.
um I hopped in around like Burning Crusades and Wrath of the Lich King, and
That's about the time when I played too.
Hmm.
and I don't ever recall an expansion about maybe was that like from a raid or something? I don't know. I have no idea, man. I don't know.
Like there are four old gods, and they're making a card for each of these old gods.
Mm.
The one that they've announced so far, like they're not announcing all the cards at once, but the one that they announced right now is Cthulhu. And basically, these four old gods, from what I understand, they're trapped like beneath the earth, and they send whispers to people to make them insane and do evil things.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I see. Like, yeah, I'm familiar with Lovecraftian like lore of the old gods, the elder gods, but I didn't know that that stuff was in World of Warcraft.
I don't. Yeah.
uh, from what I'm hearing from people who are familiar with this, they're really excited about it because they say it was really cool and was implemented into World of Warcraft because uh, like for example, someone just finishes a raid and then they come out and then they would hear like this whisper, while they're playing the game. It would be like kill yourself or something like that.
Hmm.
Just uh, they're like what the heck just happened.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it was pretty cool in World of Warcraft, but I just wanted to bring this up because I play some Hearthstone, and one thing that they're going to be doing is, well, they're going to be adding 134 cards, and you have to buy the packs, and unlock the cards to the packs. But this one legendary right here, Cthulhu, one of the four old gods, this one is going to be free. Like they're gonna give it to everybody, and I thought that was gonna be pretty cool because when I first saw this, I was like, okay, that's nice and all. It has a cool ability, but I'm probably never gonna get that card because it's hard to get legendary cards. And this one they're gonna be giving to for free to everybody. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool then. I might I might be more excited about all this because with Cthulhu, um, this card specifically, you have other cards that interact with it, whether it is in your hand or in your library. You have like these 7 other cultists, and they only announced 2 so far. These 2 right here, this one and this one, the Twilight Elder and Beckoner of Evil. So, like Beckoner of Evil, you play that, and then it gives Cthulhu +2/+2 stats. You play Twilight Elder, it gives it +1/+1 stats. So you have 2 Beckoners of Evil, 2 Twilight Elders. You play them both, all 4 of those cards. It will make Cthulhu, which is by default a 6/6 creature, it will make him a 12/12. And his battle cry is he deals damage equal to his damage randomly across all the enemies. So that's minions as well as the enemy hero. So you can make this a 12/12 just by these 2 guys right here, and there's going to be 5 other guys that will also be able to make them bigger or whatever. So, like just right now, knowing that you have these 2 new cards, Beckoner of Evil, Twilight of Elder, and there's also another card that's available right now, Bran Bronzebeard, who his ability is cards that you play that have a battle cry does the battle cry twice. So if you have Bronzebeard, you have Cthulhu, that's a 12/12. You play Cthulhu, you're doing 24 damage across the board.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I think that's
a lot of synergy in there. I like that.
Yeah, but I just want to mention this real quick because I like some Hearthstone, despite the RNG being very annoying, and yeah, I won't talk too much about this since you 2 don't really care too much.
Yep.
I bet you're just over there like vroom.
Like, oh no, you do vroom. I'm actually trying to look up when the Old Gods was implemented into WoW. It seems like, I guess it's been part of the lore for some time, but
yeah,
they haven't really like brought it up until it looks like I think, what was it? Oh, Cataclysm maybe? Yeah. In Cataclysm. In Cataclysm. Cataclysm. You do a quest and you have to sail on a ship. Well, hold on. Anyway, there's some giant tentacles. So
I do know that
giant tentacles, Cthulhu.
From what other people are saying is this is one of the themes of World of Warcraft that actually has a more serious and darker theme, compared to the other themes that are more goofy and like the goblins and gnomes and their mechs, just being wild and goofy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see Hearthstone take this theme. But moving on.
Yep.
So one of the E3 organizers says that the show is beyond relevant. And because this question has been brought up to, what was this guy's name? Can I find this person's name? The ESA VP, Rich Taylor. So basically, he was asked if E3 is still relevant because we've talked on the show that EA is no longer, going to be at E3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also Activision, Disney, and Wargaming have decided that they won't have booth space either. Wargaming, despite them just having like their few games, World of Tanks, World of Warships,
and like World of Warplanes or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Like, even though they have their few free-to-play multiplayer games, they usually have huge booth spaces at these type of conferences. Like they always have a huge booth space at GDC, or usually have a huge booth space at E3, or at least when I went to E3, they had a huge booth space. So surprisingly, they have a bigger presence than you'd expect.
Yeah.
But then all these big companies, decide they're not going to have booth space there, and
Are they still going to have their press conferences though? That's the one. That's I think like the most important aspect about E3.
mhm.
I mean, if EA and Activision are like it, because usually it's you got Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony, and then EA kind of does their own. Ubisoft does their own, and now Bethesda is starting to do theirs regularly. So I mean, personally, I think that if the most important part to me is the press conferences, the keynotes, and like the presentations, and that's
Yeah.
if they're still having their presentations, then I think they're fine. Because
Yeah,
most people are watching E3 for the keynotes. I mean, that's
the show floor isn't really super important. I mean, this is an industry event. You have to keep in mind. Yes, being able to get them hands-on the show floor would be great, but they are still doing. To answer your question, they're still doing like closed door presentations. They're still doing keynotes, and that's where all that stuff is, generally reported.
and that's where
So,
like majority of people who are paying attention to E3 are watching the keynotes because they're at home streaming it or watching videos of it. They're not the only people that the booths matter to are the people at E3, which is a very small percentage of people who pay attention to E3.
hmm
Yeah, like I mean, I can see where why people would be asking, if E3 is still relevant, not only because of these large companies no longer having booth space there, but also it seems that the industry is having a lot more public events now. With Sony having their Sony Experience, EA is going to be having their own public event during E3 rather than having floor space. PAX is becoming a bigger thing. With what's there, like 4 different PAXs?
Yeah, they have Prime, South, Australia, East, and they have PAX Dev.
PAX Dev is part of PAX Prime.
Yeah, I think they're trying to make it a bigger thing, though. I'm not sure, though. We'll have
I
to
mean,
see.
like, plus I would not be surprised if there'd be like a PAX Europe.
Yeah.
I totally expect that to be a thing eventually.
Yeah.
So with larger, public events, I think the public events are probably at this point they are probably more important to game publishers than this trade show,
Yeah.
because E3 is not a public event; it's a trade show.
Yeah.
You have to be part of the industry to go there. Hashtag hire Staffa.
Anyway.
Yeah. You guys got anything else on this before I move on?
Nope.
Let's talk about our favorite Assassin's Creed movie. So the Assassin's Creed movie, they have like these insane pre-order bonuses.
Pre-order
Even to
bonus for a
Ubisoft
movie?
to have something that is a bonus of some kind of pre-order.
You can pre-order a ticket from Kernel. That's Kernel, Kernel. And so you can just get the ticket for $15. Or for $30 you get a t-shirt. For $60 you get a hidden blade toy. For $120 you get an Assassin's Creed hoodie.
Ugh.
For $600 you get an Aguilar scale statue. I'm assuming that's Michael Fassbender's character. So you get a statue of him that's to scale for $600. You can put that in your living room. Get Michael Fassbender in your life.
Are there
And
more?
for $1,200, you get a replica of the crossbow scene in the movie.
You know,
It says it's an 18-inch crossbow and the exact 1-to-1 scale replica of the weapon you'll see in the film during a pivotal scene.
so for they actually have another tier. It's I think the best one for value, to be honest. It's the $0 tier.
It's the one where you just completely ignore the movie and everything.
No, you pay attention to it and then you just let it go by and you're just like, that was pretty good. That was good.
You just pirate the movie and you don't get it for free. I don't know. I'm not excited for this movie.
I do not promote pirating movies. Hashtag Aristotle. But yeah, this is just insanity. That's why I wanted to bring this up. I'm not sure if you get if the tiers include the tiers below it. So if you get the $1,200 one with the crossbow replica, do you also get the statue? I'm just
Probably not.
curious.
You probably need to pre-order the pre-order.
$120 seems pretty expensive for a hoodie.
Yep. Pretty
I'm
expensive?
assuming it's
You mean
coming
very
with
expensive?
everything before it as well, but that's still too expensive.
They should have a
$120 for
tier.
the hoodie, the hidden blade, the ticket, the watch, the script, whatever else it comes with, behind the scene extras.
They should have like a $2,400 tier where you get to actually go into the Animus and then relive the moment in your life where Assassin's Creed was actually good.
Yeah.
I saw that coming. It was a train. It was heading. Just I saw it coming, and I stood there.
I'm brilliant. Anyways, let's unless you guys have anything to add, let's move on.
I should have stopped it.
All right, so let's talk about close friend of the show, Daisy Ridley. This young lass. this young lady who is star of the Star Wars.
Uh-huh.
I don't know because much
she's
about her character
she's the main character Rey from Star Wars: Force Awakens.
Okay, I just know she's a character, one of the main characters from the show. I mean movie, because I haven't watched it yet.
Good.
But looks like there's talks into getting her into playing or portraying Lara Croft in a new Tomb Raider movie.
I'd watch it.
Would you?
Yeah. I really like Daisy Ridley. I think she's a good actress. She was awesome in Force Awakens, and I would totally watch.
Is she British? Can she do a British accent?
I think
she's
she
23-year-old British actress.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I
she's
mean,
awesome.
What's her face? Angelina Jolie wasn't. I mean, she's not British, so.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but those movies
they
weren't good anyway.
Angelina Jolie has like this foreign accent that she like defaults to for like so many movies, and it's like what accent is she trying to do?
It's all of them combined.
It's like
every accent ever combined into one.
You know what I'm talking about because she does it in like so many movies, and it's like which accent is that supposed to be?
Yeah.
It's like her own. It's like what she thinks a European accent is or something.
I would totally watch. I think this one would be a good movie because one, Daisy Ridley is an awesome actress, and Yeah, that's the only reason.
Man, when I see someone like 23-year-old British actress, and I think about how old I am, I'm like, man, what am I doing with my life? Hire Staffa, hashtag. Put the hashtag at the end. I'm breaking all the rules. Alright, moving on.
Sure.
Since we're in the movie territory, we're at the no point of return. We're not talking about video games anymore.
Yep.
Let's talk about good friend of the show, J.K. Simmons.
Ha, just kidding.
He's,
Okay,
he's,
bad
he's
joke.
not just kidding. It's what's his name from Portal?
Aperture Science.
Grave Johnson.
Yeah. Cave Johnson.
Cave, yeah, there you go. Cave Johnson. Grave Johnson.
Grave Johnson. Gravy Johnson.
Cave Johnson. AKA, like, what else has he done?
Isn't
J.
he,
Jonah Jameson. He's done so many stuff. He was in Legend of Korra. He was, my view of J.K. Simmons was like torn apart when I watched Oz. Like I always like saw him as like, you know, these comedic roles like you know, J. Jonah Jameson and Cave Johnson and whatever. But then it's like I watched Oz. I was like, oh my god.
You know,
He's a
for
terrible person.
for the longest time, I never realized he was Mr. Jameson.
You didn't know that?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't like that mustache, that like buzz cut thing he had going on. It just threw me off. I just never crossed in my head, and nope.
So J.K. Simmons, Kevin's just kidding.
Yep.
He's been cast as not detective, Commissioner James Gordon. For
Oh, is he?
Yes, for an upcoming Justice League movie.
Oh.
Which
Okay.
I was surprised that they. I mean, I'm pretty sure he will do well because he's an amazing actor.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
But I totally expected like Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston looks more like the Gordon that we've been familiar with.
Like two main reasons. One, Bryan Cranston wanted to be in like these DC movies. He wanted.
Really?
Well, first he wanted to be Lex Luthor. That was before they casted Lex Luthor.
Oh.
But
Why'd they choose that one dude?
Jesse
yeah.
Eisenberg.
Yeah.
But aside from that, Bryan Cranston does the voice for James Gordon in the animated movie Batman Year One. So, you know, he's already worked with WB, though, you know, the live-action studio is different from their animated studio. So, you know, I totally expected Bryan Cranston, and I think Bryan Cranston would be, like, the most ideal actor, especially since he's, you know, a hot actor at the moment.
Yeah, he's very good.
Hot, not as in...
No, he's
not as in, like, like, visually appealing. I mean, like, as in...
he's hot because of the ovens he cooked the meth in.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So, you know, I thought it would be Bryan Cranston, but you know what? J.K. Simmons. He's an amazing actor. I'll take it.
I think J.K. Simmons will work for Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. I think he can do it. But, you know, speaking of... Yeah?
Oh, I was gonna say I didn't know Bryan Cranston wanted to be in the DC movies. Is that something he said like at a Comic-Con or something?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay.
It's
I know
been
he
a
went
while
to
ago.
Comic-Cons and stuff like that for Breaking Bad, and people, you know,
he cosplayed as Walter White.
Yes, he cosplayed as Walter White
Yep.
because he is the one who knocks.
Like he had a Walter White rubber mask.
He did. That's brilliant.
So speaking of J. Jonah Jameson,
Hmm.
you know, demanding those pictures of Spider-Man days after. One thing real quick before we move on. Like a few days before this was announced, someone was interviewing J.K. Simmons, telling him that there is a petition for him to play J. Jonah Jameson again.
Hmm.
You know, because there's going to be more Spider-Man in the future.
Yeah.
And his body language and his answer were completely different. Like he said, well, first he was like, I don't think the people doing this petition have any sway over who is going to get cast. But then he was like,
Yeah.
I would love to play. He said something like, I had a blast playing J. Jonah Jameson with what's that director's name again? Sam. He did I can't remember his name, but he said he had a blast doing it with the director. So he would love to play that role again. But even though he said that, his body language was like, "No, I'm never. There's no chance I'm going to play this role." And then a few days later, this was announced. So I'm pretty sure that's why. But J. Jonah Jameson, he demands those pictures of Spider-Man, and guess what? We got that Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
We not only got the pictures, we got the film. Because Captain America Civil War Trailer 2 got released.
Yep.
And it was a pretty good trailer, but like they dropped a bombshell at the end with Mr. Spider-Man right here that we have on the screen. That we're not going to play in motion at all.
Hi guys.
Hey everyone. I don't know about you two, but I love it.
It looks really good.
Yep, I agree.
Like,
Most hype I've been for Spider-Man since Spider-Man 1.
I mean, like it doesn't. It's a little bit different. It's not the exact same as, like the past two Spider-Man that were pretty much like exact copy from the comics.
Yeah.
There's a few changes here and there. This one looks more cloth rather than the previous one being rubber, I think.
Yeah. I like how this looks though.
Yeah, very brightly colored, and there's like they've added a few more like black stripes here and there, I guess just to add more black to the suit, since there's black around his eyes that seem kind of random, compared to the balance of red and blue everywhere else. But one
I do like the outlined eyes. I don't know. It kind of stuck out because like he's like squinted or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, where he his eyes get smaller.
Yeah.
So a lot of people comparing that to Deadpool.
Mhm.
Because Deadpool's eyes move in that movie.
Yeah.
I don't think they copied off of that because this seems a little different. Because you can hear like some mechanical sound effect when his eyes get smaller.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
So I don't think it's supposed to be like, oh, he just controls his eyes for no reason at all.
Mhm.
This seems to be like there's some kind of like a mechanical reason that they'll probably explain in the movie.
Iron Man.
Yeah. Be like, oh, he can
Tony
like
Stark made this for me.
focus in. Yeah, sure. Another notable thing about his suit is he has like a kind of a utility belt that you can see. That looks like his web shooters are on his belt. In like every other version of Spider-Man, the web shooters he would have a belt that was underneath the suit, and that's where he'd get the web shooters from, or the cartridges for the web shooters.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd make no sense at all because despite it being underneath his suit, he'd still his outline would still look like a naked man.
Yeah.
So, kind of makes more sense to have it on the outside.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm totally hyped. Iron Man yelling out Underoos.
I think my favorite part of the trailer was like, we need to stop doing this because we're destroying things. And then they disagree, so they start fighting each other and start destroying things. Thanks, Obama. It's like, come on, guys, get it together.
I saw someone post like a meme photo where it's like when all your friends are having a civil war and you're not invited, and then the bottom picture has Thor doing a big frowny face.
Because he doesn't participate in petty human actions or something.
Affairs.
I'm totally hyped. I mean, I've heard like so many random complaints about this Spider-Man, like, oh, he has such a pubescent voice. He totally ruined it. It's like he had one line. He just said, "Hey guys."
And even
Hey,
then, so who cares?
Yeah, that's it. He's supposed to be a kid.
Wasn't he in college or something like when
High school.
Your high school, yeah, high school when he got
He's
bitten.
a high
That's
school
right.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah, and the actor himself, like right now, he's like 18 years old. So when they filmed this, he was probably like what 17 or something, 17 or 16.
Yep.
So whatever.
Whatever.
I'm hyped. He's Spider-Man. I mean, he's gonna have like some awesome interactions with Robert Downey Jr., especially with him, giving him the nickname Underoos. Would that be considered like fourth wall breaking? Because Underoos are it's underwear that's with superhero themes.
Yeah, and
So would Underoos exist in this universe?
I guess. I mean, I don't see why not.
They only have like the Batman and Superman Underoos in this
I
universe.
mean, just like I guess you could imagine if people like cosplay as their favorite heroes or something like that, you know? Like I'm sure they have some sort of conventions in their world, and someone comes into comes dressed as Iron Man, but all the pieces are actually like broken down tissue boxes or something.
One person made a interesting point about this trailer is that Tony Stark saying, "That's it, I'm tired of waiting," before he called for Spider-Man to come in,
Yeah.
and pretty much point out that's probably like a commentary on everyone is tired of waiting and wants to see Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because everyone has been like, "Where's Spider-Man? Where is he? We know he's in the movie. Show him to us. Give us the pictures." Plus, when he says that in this trailer, you don't see Robert Downey Jr. actually say it. He says that while it's still in the Civil War logo, like right here. That's when he says it. So it might be dialogue that's just for the trailer. Who knows?
Yeah.
Could be.
But
it's
yeah.
funny. I saw a picture of I forgot what the tweet said. It was like interesting day or something like that, or regarding the what's it called, the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And Underoos like replied, the Twitter account replied to it and was like, "Imagine how we feel."
That's hilarious.
So it was like, "Imagine how we feel," with like an ellipsis after it, just like dot dot dot.
Nice.
Well, I'm sure they got all sorts of free advertisement with that, and people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
So I got one last thing on here.
Oh man.
Are you guys ready?
sure.
All right. So I got a game for you guys.
Do we really want to take that long? It's already, I think, been a couple hours.
No, oh yeah, no, dude, I had this ready for days. I had this ready for days.
Alright.
I'm doing this.
Alright.
Let's play a game.
So present to everyone
Magic.
and
Okay.
hide this. So the game we're doing,
Okay, let's do this.
magic
Let's
or
do
heavy
this.
metal. So the way how we're doing this is you're both going to have the opportunity to answer, but we're going to alternate on who goes first. So each turn, one of you goes first, and then the next turn you'll go second.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna flip a coin. Okay. Ali, heads or tails?
Tails.
It's heads.
Okay.
So Kevin, do you want to go first or second
I will.
on this first question?
I will go second.
You'll go second.
Yeah.
All right. So, I'm going to show the name first, and then Ali, you tell me if this is good, if this is a Magic the Gathering card or a heavy metal band.
Okay, let's do this.
So, Death Spell Omega.
Heavy metal.
Okay, Kevin, what do you think?
Heavy metal.
It's a heavy metal band, so both of you guys get a point.
That was too obvious. It had too much angst in the name.
All right, so I marking down a point for both of you guys. All right, so Kevin, you go first on this next one.
Okay.
Lord of the Pit.
Magic.
Ali.
I'll say Magic.
All right, it is Magic the Gathering. So
Cool.
a point for both you guys. All right. Ali, you're going first.
Let's do this.
Cattle Decapitation.
I feel like this might be too obvious and be like, this is heavy metal, but I don't know. That's like a trick. You make me second guess myself. I mean, what would that be for a Magic card? Is that like spoiling someone's land or something like that? Cattle decapitation, just take cattle out to your land and like you just had free land ruined.
Make a choice. Make a choice.
Death metal. Or not metal, heavy metal, whatever.
All
Not death
right,
metal.
Kevin.
I'm gonna say magic.
All right, Ali, you're correct.
Oh man.
There you
So
go.
a point to Ali. All right, Kevin, you go first.
Okay.
Avenged
That's
Sevenfold.
easy. That's metal.
That's an easy one, yeah. That's
Well, you
metal.
guys familiar with this band?
Yes, it's a very popular one.
Oh, I don't know like any of these bands. I had to look them up. I basically looked up. I was looking at lists of the most metal sounding bands.
Oh, really?
Okay, so a point for both you guys. All right.
Minus a point for you for not knowing.
Stuff automatically loses.
Okay, so Ali, you're first for the next
Yep.
one.
Yep.
All right. Screams from Within.
You know that gif of Donald Trump's face, right? The faces that he makes. That's what I'm
Yes.
doing right now. Just trying to think about it.
The Charles
Screams
Manson
from
faces.
Within. Magic the Gathering.
Kevin.
I'm also gonna say magic.
Magic
There
Together.
you go.
All right, so that's 5 for Ali, 4 for Kevin. All right, Kevin.
Hmm.
Hideous End.
I think this sounds like it could be a magic card. I'm gonna say magic.
Ali.
It sounds too obviously like a Magic card. This might give him a chance to tie, but I will say metal.
It is a magic
Damn
card.
it.
So 5 for 5. I mean, five versus 5. All right, so Ali,
Ruined. Yes.
Damnation.
Magic.
Kevin,
Magic.
it is a magic card. So point for both you guys, 6 and 6.
That's actually a pretty good card.
Kevin, Lamb of God.
This is metal.
Metal.
This is
For
the only
sure.
one that I knew that before. Yes, this is metal. So, giving you guys a point. All right, Ali. Death.
That's magic card, right? Magic card.
Kevin,
Magic.
you're both wrong.
God
What?
dang it.
There is no magic card named Death. I had to I checked just to make sure.
Checked and
Oh,
double checked.
Yes. No magic
Ugh.
card named Death.
Dumbfounded.
No points.
No points.
Interesting.
All right. Who went first this time? Ali.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Kevin. Reaper from the Abyss.
This is magic.
Magic.
Ali. Yes, it is magic.
I
So
actually
both you
have this
guys.
card.
I'm glad all of these are like swamp
Black.
creatures. Yeah, black.
Because the black creatures have the most heavy metal names.
Most metal of names. Gonna tweet that later.
That's where I got the idea of this game. All right. Kevin.
No, I think it's Ollie's turn now.
Oh, Ali.
Yeah, that's my
All
turn.
right.
Yeah.
Lord of the Void.
Magic.
Kevin.
Magic.
Boing, 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 boing.
I'm glad it bounced in.
It is a magic card.
I have this one too.
So 9 and 9.
9.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah.
Satanic War Master.
Okay, see, I have to say metal on this one.
Ali.
I was also gonna say metal.
So you're both saying metal then? Well, you said you worded that very confusingly, Ali. You was
metal.
gonna say metal. Okay. So you're
No,
both saying
I'm
metal.
sorry, metal. Yeah.
All right. You're both right. Metal.
Yeah, see, I feel like just because they have the word satanic in there, I don't think that anything in magic would be based off of real life things. I don't know.
I thought maybe the word War Master might throw one of you guys
Yeah.
off, but
No.
all right. Next one, Ali. Decrepit Birth.
Magic.
Kevin.
magic.
You're both wrong.
Ah! I thought about saying metal too.
All right.
It's almost sounds like if it was a card in Magic, it would be something that like destroys something as soon as it's summoned, like an instant card.
Okay, Kevin.
How many do you have left?
We're almost done.
Okay.
We got a few more left. We're on. This is slide 14 out of 17.
I was gonna say leave the Oh, never mind. That's odd. No, never mind. Go
Okay.
ahead. Continue.
So, Kevin.
Yep.
Demon of Death's Gate.
Metal.
Ali.
Magic.
It is a magic card.
Ha! Take the lead. Excelsior.
11 to 10. So,
Oh man.
Ali.
Yes.
Nightwish.
Magic.
Kevin.
Metal.
Metal.
Ah!
Tied 11-11. This is it.
I
Last
feel like
one.
I just did one of those Japanese. Oh!
Last one. Kevin.
Hi.
Harvester of Souls.
Is it my turn? I thought it was Ollie's turn.
Oh, it's Ali's turn? Okay, Ali. Harvester of Souls.
Magic.
Yeah, magic.
Magic.
No tiebreaker.
Um,
Do you have a trivia question?
I don't have anything for a
Okay.
tiebreaker.
Okay.
I'm
We'll
sorry.
We're all winners here, Ali. Except Safa. He's
Except
negative 1
Safa.
point.
This is Jeopardy.
All right. Stop that. Okay. So that was the surprise, and my dad just called me. So
Okay.
with that said, we're gonna wrap this up. Man, it is dark in my room now. So we had no listener feedback this week, but if you want to write into the podcast, you can write in at podcast@continues.com. Send us your questions, comments, anything you want to say. Preferably video game related, but if you don't want to send something video game related in, that's fine too. Or send me your game if you're a developer. That's fine.
Hashtag hire me.
Or hashtag hire Staffa. Send me a job. So wrap things up. Twitch.tv/SayItSafa is the Twitch stream. Check that out. Do you guys want to plug anything?
No.
Nope.
All right. If you enjoy what you've been hearing, you can support us by liking us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. Leave an iTunes review. You can contact by email. That's podcast@outofcontinues.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/outofcontinues. All those things I just said, they can be found on the website. That's www.outofcontinues.com. You can give me a tweet. I am at SayItStafa. That's at SayEdStafa. Make sure to use the hashtag HireStafa. And you can also...
That's hashtag Aristotle.
Yes.
Okay.
You can also tweet at these guys like Ali.
At Foster112, that is at PHOSPHOR112.
You can also tweet at Kevin. He is...
At KS Trehan, KSTREHAN.
I'd like to thank my guest host for joining me today and playing my stupid game called Magic or Heavy Metal. They are Kevin and Ali. Kevin.
It was fun. I enjoyed
Yeah, you
it.
should call it Metal Magic.
Because all
Or just Magic Metal.
black spells have the most metal names. Demon of Death's Gate. Neither you guys both thought that was a metal band. Come on now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Man.
That's proof. That's proof. Black spells are heavy metal. Anyways, I'm your host, Stafa. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys next week because we will be doing a special not at GDC edition of the podcast.
Hashtag hire stuff.